I probably would have opened up with what the FUD.
Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I believe that 99.9% of people, and 100% if everybody's honest, at some point in their life, more times than not, have struggled with fear, with uncertainty, and with doubt.
We want the benefits of a shepherd, but we're not marked by a shepherd.
I don't get my confidence because of certainty. I get my confidence because of the character God is.
You are not born a Christian. You have to make that decision yourself. It has to be personal to you.
Psalms 23 begins by answering the question how we will know we will be okay. David is writing this psalm with Godfidence.
What is going on, Post Sunday Podcasters? We hope you guys are doing well here today. I'm your host, Pastor Johnny Sierra, with you guys in our year-long Psalms series. We're excited to be with you guys here today. Episode 32, man. This is going to be great. And this one's going to be fun because we're going to step into somewhat of a mini-series in the next 4 weeks, kicking off this week. But we're going to be in the famous Psalms 23. And so buckle up. It's going to be great. We're just break it down as much as we possibly can. And it's going to be great. We're going to have a really, really good time. Want to remind you guys that we do have a diamond level channel for you guys on Instagram where you can plug in, get some more content, and ask some questions and be a part of the community that's in there. So go to our Instagram page, check that out on our bio side. And also to newsletter coming soon. We're going to be working on a newsletter for you guys. And so all we need from you, if you're interested, is your full name and email, and send it over to postsundaypodcast@gmail.com. We're going to be working to provide that for you guys, for those that want to just stay in the know, and any future things that are coming up, like some future merch projects that we got going on. Tim and I have been working on trying to just put together some different things for you guys, so some swag and opportunities for you guys to wear some of the Post Sunday podcasts with some pride. And so that is what we're looking forward to. But man, I'm accompanied here by a special friend of mine. He's been here multiple different times. He's family now. He's not a guest to the show. He's a regular now, but he had the privilege of bringing a tremendous word and kickstarting our Psalms 23 series yesterday. So we're recording this Monday for those that are with us live, obviously, but those that are on demand, we're recording this on a Monday. He was able to preach it on Sunday. But I am with the one and only, he's a legend himself as well, Pastor Chad Harper. What's up, man?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Good. I am doing well.
Happy Monday.
Excited to be with you here today. It seems like you have been given the smallest verses throughout the year this year.
It's good for me. It's good for me. Yeah, it's good for me. I don't mind it. I don't have an ego. I don't have pride.
No.
So I'll take what's sliced up.
Yeah.
So some of them I've asked for, and I've told Tim when we were planning out the year.
Did you ask for this one?
You remember? I can't remember. Some have fit really well to my teaching style, and my voice. So I can't remember if I ask. We planned this so long ago.
I know.
So what people don't realize is this is not something that's planned the month out, not even the year of. Tim had this first idea for Psalms. I really, honestly, if I can remember, like August of last year.
Yeah.
So like a year ago.
Nice. Yeah.
And so by October, November, we had nailed down, I think, the entire calendar, which is fascinating for my pastor friends out there that don't do it like that. So I can't remember, but yeah, it's fallen. The first one.
Crazy.
Yeah. The first one,
you also,
like 6 verses or something.
Not only are you like short, like lately, at least when you come on the pod, It seems like you've done like 2 verses, 3 verses.
6 verses, I think. Is,
you launched the year.
Yeah, I launched the year. 6 verses, a whole psalm, 6 verses.
Yeah, which was, you loved it because it wasn't
this
a
one's
song
different.
based.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was great. So this one's different because it's hard because what are we doing? 4 weeks, right?
Yeah, 4
so we're doing 4 weeks of it. So it's me yesterday, and that, I mentioned in one of the services, growing up the way that we grew up, Tim and I, some things you just know and you just rattle them off, and so it was really hard because when I was preparing, they all flow so well together that it was hard to stop at verse 2.
So true.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, even when I was reading it, yesterday, in front of everyone, it's like your lips want to continue. And it's like, no, pause. PJ, I think, is doing this coming week, right? So PJ's doing verse 3 and 4. And then I think Tim will finish this out with the last 2. So, or the last 2 weeks, but it was great. It's a different, I've been doing this so long that trying to find new things that you didn't know that are fresh is my goal, right? And I don't say it's a challenge because you preach the Bible that is alive. We don't preach a dead book, right? So when you're preaching a book that is alive, it comes easy, but it is a goal. My goal is, okay, what have I not known about these 2 verses? Yeah. Because in 25 years of being a pastor, I guarantee you I can go back to my files and find a Psalm 23
I'm
sermon,
sure you have,
and that's just not how we roll, So, so it was interesting. It was good. Learned some stuff, saw some things differently, that I hadn't looked at before.
That's great, dude. Yeah, we, one of the things, same thing here. I totally agree. It's been, since we've begun the podcast, quite honestly, it's been a floodgates of a lot of just knowledge, context, which has probably fascinated me more, the storylines behind what's been written. But as we were dialing into this particular one, Psalms 23, Tim recommended me to go to a book called A Shepherd's Shepherd's Look at Psalms 23. Yeah. And that's low key has been a really cool small book, small read. I highly recommend it for anybody that's going to be following along with us in the Psalms. A Shepherd's Look at Psalms 23. Philip Keller. I'm sure you've read it.
Yep.
Super good. He brings a very great perspective when it comes to the context of being a shepherd himself. And so he's writing through those lenses, and that has probably been a game changer in the understanding of this entirety of what we're walking into. So that was pretty good.
I think the thing with Psalms 23 is if you read it in its entirety and then you go back and you segment it, it's a progression of trust. And that's how it's written. It's a progression of trust. Because he is my shepherd, I shall not want.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. You know what I'm saying? He leads me by still water. So it's like, it's a progression. And then not to steal 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but like it's a build upon. And when you read it like that, and you divide it out, you really get to see some of that goodness. Because I do think that, I think I said it yesterday, which was my childhood growing up. You assume that a shepherd is the weak caretaker.
Yeah.
That there's green pastures everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They lounge under a tree. You know what I mean? And that's just not what it was.
No.
So literally the exact opposite of what it was.
It's
so you read it, you have to understand what a shepherd was. Then you can read Psalm 23. And I think if you misconstrue what a shepherd was and did and the roles and the responsibilities, you misconstrue what the words are meaning.
So true. So true. Yeah. Well, when you understand the shepherd's role, what he's supposed to do, you then begin to understand what's being spoken. And I think if, when you look at it in a perspective of being a sheep yourself,
right,
and saying this is the this is the framework of a shepherd that would look over my life. Like that
what I think is fascinating is you don't have to pick or choose. I'm not either a shepherd or a sheep.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
David is writing this, after he's a king. So a king was known as the shepherd of Israel.
Correct, yeah.
So he's writing it as a shepherd, also as a sheep. And so for me as a pastor, for you as a pastor, we are shepherds, but we are also sheep. And so I think when you look at it and you read it like that, collectively together, there's a lot of goodness there.
So good.
It's not like, well, I'm just a sheep or I'm just a shepherd. No, like David was both at the same time. He was shepherding the people of Israel, but yet he was a sheep, and his shepherd was God.
So true.
And so that to me is there's goodness in all of it, but I think it is the perspective that has to be, in that.
Yeah.
So you don't move from being a sheep to a shepherd and never a sheep again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not that progression.
Yeah.
So, but it's understanding.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so I want to break this down a little bit. I love that you brought the context that he is already a king, because has faced a ton of things, is going to face a ton of things. And so you see the different sides of struggle that he's going through. And each moment of this psalm just kind of touches upon that, as when you know his testimony and you know what he's been through, you then start to say, wow, this is a man that's been through things, but still can speak this way. What does that tell me? I can go through whatever I need to go through. I can also come out of it this way as well.
Yeah. It's the faithfulness thing, right? So it's not hoping God will be faithful in the future. It's remembering God's faithfulness in the past and knowing that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So it's not, I hope God is faithful. It's, I've seen God's faithfulness through these trials, through these storms. I've seen his faithfulness, and I know he'll be faithful in the future. Yeah. So whatever that looks like. And I think that's a unique place where David was writing from. He wrote this after the storms of life. He didn't write this at 15 when everything was solid and fine. You know what I mean? He wrote this from a state of mind. And I think that's what personally makes it for us. People that were there yesterday, there's young children in the room. I look out and I see faces, right? Then there's old people in the room that have been through the season and the struggle of life. They've been through it. They've seen it. And, God is faithful in the future, but he's been faithful in the past. And depending on who you are in that, that's the promise that he gives us, And I mentioned yesterday, a word that a pastor I heard say, I don't know, Johnny, was probably 20 plus years ago, but it was Godfidence.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was, and it was something that, that David is writing this psalm with Godfidence, and when we say confidence, sometimes that can be misconstrued as certainty. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I have to be certain about what is next step. What is this? And that's not what it is. Confidence and certainty, they don't necessarily always have to go together. I don't have to be certain about everything in my life before I'm confident that God can walk me through it. So that's where the Godfidence comes in. It's understanding and knowing that I can be Godfident. Yeah. And that's the confidence that comes from the inside. Yeah. That's the confidence that comes from knowing, whose I am and knowing who my shepherd is.
That's so good, bro.
And it's not figuring everything out.
Yeah. Can God be the same for you yesterday, today, and tomorrow? Right. That is the David that we're talking about. The David that knows this is the same God that was with me when I was 15 fighting bears and lions. This is the same God that was with me when I lost my son. This is the same God that was with me when my mentor and spiritual father, Saul, was chasing after me, wanting to kill me and take over and take my life. This is the same God yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Can that God be the same for you through the storms of your life, through the disasters in your life, right? And so that's good, man. I really loved and enjoyed the story that you opened up with yesterday. You brought a story that was awesome, and I probably would have opened up with what the FUD, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why you didn't, bro.
Yeah, well, because in my verbiage, it could have slipped.
It may have slipped over.
The real thing could have slipped out, and then it would have been a whole lot of explaining.
Yeah.
So
Talk to us a little bit about that, man. That was a great story, and I thought it tied into a lot of things that you were talking through as you went.
Well, I think, whenever I teach, it's a personal thing for me, right? And so it's all of that's why when I talk, by jokes, I joke all the time about my kids, right? God gave me 2 kids, so I could always have a great sermon illustration.
Ready.
Sermon illustration. They're walking sermon illustrations. If one day they're forced to, to listen to these messages and, things like that, they'll have a good timeline of their life and the chaos that ensued around their life. And so, I try to get a question and pose a question at the beginning that everyone can relate to, that everyone just suits up and says, oh yeah, I feel that, because if you can get everybody in your room, everybody watching online, if you can get them all where they're like, oh, I've asked that, or, oh, I've thought that, or, oh, I see that. Then you get them all to a place where what you're getting ready to expose from the Word of God is relevant, because it's not, I don't ever just want to give people information. And I also just don't want to give them inspiration. I want to give them information that inspires them, but inspires them to live different, right? Yeah, Monday morning practical.
That's good.
And if I can't give them Monday morning practical, then it becomes more of a lecture. And I just don't want it to be a lecture. So the story that I shared got me thinking. And so that's where I started with, with my dear friend, beloved guy in ministry, John Mezzanetti. Has he been on this podcast? Was he on the podcast after the blue chair?
No, he had to leave.
He had to leave. But I know he listens and
we'll get him on here.
Can you watch it? You watch the podcast?
He watches it.
Yeah. So you can watch it. So he listens, he watches, that stuff. So, but he's a great guy. And, he cold called me one day and basically just said, I got to take you out to lunch and God's doing some stuff and I want to tell you. And so I had no idea, Johnny, what it was going to be about. Tim was on sabbatical, right? So Tim leaves me hanging, right? Goes on sabbatical. So most of the time we try to tag team something, together. So it's just, Tim's been I've been his, or he's been mine, however you want to look at it. We've been each other's wingman for so many years. And so I go to this meeting and I have nothing. And then all of a sudden John starts in with this FUD. And man, I have not a clue what he is talking about. And he just dials in and he says 1,000 times, FUD, 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 FUD. And I'm like, what are we doing? So finally got to the point where it was like, okay, I need to know context, because if I don't know context, I won't be able to help. And he was looking for some advice and some help and some guidance. So he said, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And I'd never heard it put that way. And it hit me so hard what he said, because I believe my own personal life, I believe that people listening, I believe that 99.9% of people, and 100% if everybody's honest, at some point in their life, more times than not, have struggled with fear, with uncertainty, and with doubt. And those 3 things, when they're mixed up, they produce anxiety. And I don't know the stats. I mean, I'm sure we could Google them, but the anxiety level of people right now is through the roof. And it's because they've based their life on fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Wow.
And this man said, I am no longer living my life, because he was a salesman. And I shared it yesterday. And if you heard it, you can just listen again. But he was a salesman. And he said, that was my goal, is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. If I could go in and strike fear, uncertainty, and doubt in you about what I was trying to sell you, then you would buy my product. And the guy was highly successful. And he got to the point where he said, that's not who I am. That's not what God wants. And I'm not going to ever do it again. And instead, I want to do the exact opposite. I want to give people peace. I want to give people rest. I want to give people hope. And that's what birthed really Ignite Adventure Outdoors. And, the first piece of that being, in Stowe, Maine. But it fits so well. Because we all wake up and ask ourselves, am I going to be okay? Today, my daughter started preschool, and she was up at 6:15 bright and early. Oh, bro, pumped, right? And so we get to the school, and she's been counting down this day for God only knows how long, right? And so
we hope they don't let her down.
Oh, bro. So
don't let her down. Wherever
so she has the same. She has the same teacher JJ had, same little preschool, and we pull in to the school, and Michelle's in a separate vehicle with my son JJ because we're going different places today, and Jordan wanted to ride with me. So we played all the way to school. We played the song "The Best Day of My Life," and she sang it with the window down, screaming it. This is the best day of my life. Best day. We get into school, or we get into the parking lot, and I'm backing in, and she says, "Dad, am I going to be okay today?"
Oh, man. Wow.
And I was like, yeah, of course. We just sang all day long, all morning, best day of my life. But she literally said, my stomach hurts. My stomach hurts, Dad. And I said, Jordan, you're nervous. She says, I know, but am I going to be okay? And here's a 4-year-old asking a question that as a 47-year-old, we ask every day, am I going to be okay?
Wow.
And Psalms 23 begins by answering the question, how we will know we will be okay. And it's not because I have the answers. It's not because I know what tomorrow holds. It's not because I know what today holds, right? It's because I know who holds it. And it's the Godfidence to walk through the day because God's faithfulness in the past.
Wow.
And it's not the certainty that I need. And it's not, I don't get my confidence because of certainty. I get my confidence because of the character of who God is.
Yes, correct.
And that's where I think the focus has to be. So,
man.
Long-winded version, but
let's go. All right, Jordan. Preaching over here to your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Man, if we didn't have enough yesterday, which, by the way, anyone watching live now with us, the link is below if you want to watch Sunday's teaching. That's available for you guys. And if you're not and you're on demand, GenesisChurchOrlando.com/media or sermons, one of the two sermons. You can check out Pastor Chad's message on that, but he opens up with that acronym FUD, and it just really carried through the whole entirety of the message, man. But real quick, let's dive. It's short, and so not going to be very long, but. I love just the opening statement. The Lord is my shepherd. And one of the things that you specified very, very strongly was that this is not a big picture thing. This is a intimate dialogue. The Lord is my shepherd, right? And this is in this period of time very unheard of, because you were a part of a community. God was essentially for everyone, and the personal side of God within you was not really there in a sense. Very communal. Everything was in that type of framework. But here is David making it personal, man. It's like he begins. It's like Psalms is the first diary ever written, so to say. And David is giving us the framework of what it is to declare and make God a personal God to you by opening up with this statement. The Lord is my shepherd. I thought that was great.
I think it all begins with the relationship. And that's what David is setting the tone.
So good.
Everything in the next words that I'm going to say, everything starts with my shepherd.
That's good, man.
If he's not your shepherd, then none of this is even going to make sense.
Yeah, bro.
And so I think sometimes we put the cart before the horse, and David does a very good job of saying, no, this is what it's about. It's my shepherd. And so for us, it's understanding it's a personal thing. It's understanding it has to be a personal thing. You can't rely on what your parents did. You can't rely on what your pastor did growing up or your youth pastor. You can't rely on what your friends believe. He's got to be your shepherd.
Yeah. So,
and that
totally.
putting your faith and trust in the Lord Jesus Christ as your Savior, where he now takes that position in your life as a relational God.
Yeah.
That's what it starts with.
Yeah.
And if it's not that, if it doesn't start with that, then how can I not want?
Yeah.
How can I lie down?
Totally.
How can I find still waters? Like how can he be with me through the shadow of the valley of death? Like what do we do? How? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense if he's not your shepherd.
Mm.
If he's your shepherd, it makes sense.
That's so true, bro. I remember sitting with my kids one day and I told them this. I said, listen, and it was great because I got it off of one of the podcasts that I text you and Tim on, a Diary of a CEO. I forget who he was talking to. Great man of God. But one of the things he referenced, and I ended up telling my kids this as well. I said, guys, I want you to know something. You're not born a Christian. And dude, you should have seen the looks they gave me.
Yeah.
It was like they were spooked out.
Yeah.
Like I don't got a ticket to I don't got a pass to this. Right. And they were shook. And I clearly told them, you are not born. You're born into Christianity and the understanding of it, but you are not born a Christian. You have to make that decision yourself. Yeah. It has to be personal to you.
Our kids got baptized together.
They did.
And we didn't tell them they were going to get baptized together because we didn't want that to be the reason they got
exactly,
baptized.
Yeah.
I talked JJ out of baptism for years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For years. And so, people are like, oh, well, you should have, no, I'm just, dude, the hardest thing about being a pastor's kid is salvation.
It's true. It's true.
Because it's like you ask your kid, hey, when do you believe Jesus died on the cross? Well, yeah, of course. Do you believe he rose again? Yeah, of course. Well, how long have you believed that? What do you mean forever? And it was like, bro, like, yeah, but like, when did you? So, we sat down at my kitchen table and we was explaining the baptism and how this is the marker and everything. And at some point they have to make him my shepherd.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's hard because, well, when is that? And it's like, well,
when
yes.
You've grown up with it all your life.
Bro, I tell people all the time.
That's the hardest thing.
The hardest thing, always.
Yeah.
And I tell people when I was youth pastor all the time, I said, more people will die and go to hell because of 16 inches than any other reason. Mm. And it's 16 inches is the distance between your head and your heart. The average distance is your head and your heart. And it's understanding that I can know all about him, but it's not until I receive him into my heart. And we don't mean your physical, obviously pumping heart, but the soul of who you are, where he becomes my shepherd.
That's so good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and he is a shepherd, whether he's your shepherd or not, he's a shepherd. And that's where the relational thing. And so that's, I could have preached 30 minutes yesterday on just that.
Yeah. Big time.
And that's where that's why when you live your life, it doesn't make sense to people that he's not their shepherd. And they don't understand. And it's what, it's a peace that surpasses all understanding. Most people don't understand the peace that comes with him being your shepherd because he's not theirs. They don't know what true peace is. Mm. There used to be that bumper sticker. I don't even know if they still have bumper stickers, but there used to be that bumper sticker. No God. Yeah. N-O God. Yeah. No peace. N-O peace. No God. K-N-O-W. No peace.
That's good.
And it's like the only way you'll ever truly K-N-O-W, no peace, is if you know God.
Yeah.
And if he's your shepherd, And so to me, that's where it all began.
Yeah. Yeah. Even yesterday after service, I was just saying hi to people, and one of the brothers from the main trip was telling me about just some additional things happening with his family. Father was in the hospital again. His mother-in-law was going through some medical conditions as well. Like, dude, you're talking just one thing after the other. And then he looks at me and he says, man, I don't know how people in this world can make it without God. Like, and he was just like, he was really stuck with that. It's like, I don't know where they find peace, because where I'm at right now, if I didn't have God, I just don't even know what I would do.
And I believe they can't truly find peace.
No.
I really don't. I believe truly that bumper sticker.
Yes.
If you don't have God, you will not have peace.
Yeah.
And they may not verbalize that, but that's the case.
Yeah. Man,
So,
wow.
but
There was, and I love that idea, man, of being my shepherd. There was a story in that book with Philip Keller where he talked about the day that he brought his first 30 sheep, and his neighbor handed him a knife and he said, "They're yours now." And he's told him, "You'll have to put your mark on them," right? And every sheep carried the owner's mark. And so I thought that was awesome, because for us, man, we want the benefits of a shepherd, but we're not marked by a shepherd. And to have the benefits and the protection and the covering and the peace of a shepherd, you have to have the mark of a shepherd. But the mark comes with some pain a little bit. It comes with, just giving yourself and surrendering to his influence, his desire, his wants, his structure, his strength for you. And so I just thought that was fantastic, man, that analogy of a shepherd putting his mark on his sheep because they're his now. And that's the question we have to ask ourselves. Do I have the mark of Christ within me that I belong to him? Because when I belong to him, I can then have the benefits of what he provides. I can't have the benefits of a shepherd that I don't have the mark of. And I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, I got a text message yesterday. I got tons of them yesterday from just some buddies and friends. So, but Larry Murray texted me, and Larry says, the shepherd's rod and staff were used to steer the sheep, much like you do with JJ. No, I don't hit my son. No, I should sometimes. It says, he wrote, sometimes a sheep would continually wander away from the shepherd, and he would use the rod to break the sheep's legs so it couldn't wander off. Now, you're thinking, wow, that's cruel, right? So, well, it would be cruel if that's where it ended. But he continued and he said, good news. We all like good news, right? Good news is if a sheep was unable to walk, the shepherds would carry the sheep on his shoulders until it was better. And, sometimes I feel like that's what God has to do to us,
Break us.
Yeah, he's got to break you. But the good news is he doesn't break you and leave you. He breaks you and carries you, and then you realize, man, like this is not, I don't want to do this anymore. And so there is that level of protection that comes with correction.
Yes.
And a lot of people want the protection, but they don't want the correction. And you've got to have both. You've got to succumb to the authority of your shepherd and allow him to correct you, because those corrections will offer and provide the best level of protection.
Wow.
And you can't separate the two. You can't separate the two. Yeah. And that's what I think, I love Larry's text yesterday. I don't know if Larry's listening or if you will listen to this, but Larry, I didn't respond yet in the text. I did get it though. I was reading it this morning early, but it was good. I liked that. I thought that was a solid thing.
So good, man. But yeah, a lot of people want the benefits of the shepherd without belonging to the shepherd. And so, man, that analogy of him breaking you to carry you, right, for a season, it's painful.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't go nowhere, or, nothing's opening for my life. Like, think through that lens, right? Like in your life, no doors are opening, no signs are coming my way. I don't sense God, but yet he's closest because he's holding you. He's had to break you of your desire. He also goes on, and you guys, man, I highly recommend the book, but he goes on to say that there was a sheep that was very rebellious, to the point where he was starting to wander constantly, dig trenches to get away, and it became a habit. And he would train to try to get him back, and this sheep now had babies, and now he was starting to train the babies to do the same thing. And the shepherd had to ultimately make a decision. Do I keep this sheep here and allow him to lead the others away, or do I have to make a hard decision and kill it? And he had to end up killing it. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen with us, but I'm just saying,
it's not
like,
parenting advice.
the level of detail that the shepherd focuses on our lives, but the desire of us wanting so many things. And that leads us to that next piece, I think, that I shall not want. And this is one of the kind of more misread ones. We tend to think that this is one of those scriptures that's like, okay, when I got God, I don't have needs. I'm good to go. He's going to give me everything that I need. But it's understanding that my want, and I love how Tim painted it last week, I desire whatever God's will is. When I'm under his guidance and his leadership and his authority in my life, what my wants now become his desires, or his desires become my want in my life. And I thought that was great, man, because we can look at some of these verses and misinterpret them and say, okay, now I can ask for whatever I desire. And yes, God hears that, but it's under the focus of his desire for you to advance the kingdom of God and to grow and to fulfill his purposes in your life.
I think you have to read it, I shall not want, as a declaration. Like, I'm declaring, I shall not want. I shall not want. Like, that's, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The only thing that if he's my shepherd, the only thing I truly need is him.
Wow.
So I have no wants. So I think if you read it like a declaration, where David is declaring, I shall not want. God, the only thing I want, I already have, and that's you.
Wow.
And that's a relationship with you.
Yes, yeah.
And therefore, that's what I'm going to chase. I'm chasing my relationship. I'm not chasing the things that I think I want, because I shall not want, because I already have. And I think it's a perspective, right? So, we were at Wendy's yesterday. JJ loves to go to Wendy's after church. We're at Wendy's, and he, for those of y'all could see him, he's 5'1" almost 5'2". He's 115, 120
what
pounds.
He eating, like,
dude. So yesterday he
like
says,
triple baconator.
so he's, I don't know if you've been to Wendy's recently.
With that computer
the AI oriented, right?
Drives
So
me nuts.
yeah, I wish it was not AI. I wish it was the actual person, just to see their facial expression. So he says, yeah, I'll want, and
You
so
broke the
he
system.
leans across, right? Leans across. I can't even order from him. I want a junior bacon cheeseburger. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. He goes, just ketchup and add an extra patty. I'm like, bro,
You broke
like,
the
what are you
system.
doing, right? And so, the AI is like, cannot compute, and he's like, oh, so he says it again. And so they try to give him another burger. It was hilarious. And they finally get it right. And then he says, I want 8 nuggets. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I'm good. He goes, no, I want them. So I'm like, oh, so they don't have 8 nuggets. So they only have 4, 6, or 10.
Yeah.
And so literally, as he's yelling across me, he says, 10. Like, didn't even know that was an option, because he always goes to Chick-fil-A. You get 8 or 12. He's like, 10, dude, 10. Would you like that, biggie size, whatever, value size? Yeah. Like, and I'm like, good Lord. So then at the end, so he orders this whole thing. Dad, what do you want? I'm like, nah, bro, I'm good. I don't need Wendy's. And so we pull up. He goes, it was like $16. He goes, Dad, look, man, it was only $16. And I look at my kid and I'm like, you got 16 to give me right now? He goes, no, you got this.
Wow.
And I'm like, the perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's the perspective of, like, it sets his entire mentality. It sets everything. Your perspective on life sets everything. And it's just, yesterday, it was only $16. Goes to launch camp with his buddy. You know what I mean? Dad, can I grab a 20? I'm like, bro, like, everything's covered. Yeah, but I need a 20. Dad, it's only a 20. And it's like, I'm looking at him going, man, what are we doing?
Yeah,
but it's perspective, and I think sometimes that's how we are with God. God, it's just this. It's just this. And, I protect my son from giving him a $20 bill, because if I give him a $20 bill, you know what he's going to buy, right? Every piece of candy, every slushie, you know what I'm saying? And then he's going to come home from lunch, his belly's going to hurt. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, so I'm protecting him from what he thinks he wants.
Wow.
And by protecting him from what he thinks he wants, I'm guiding him. And it's that protection that I offer, but it's him understanding, all I truly need. Yesterday at the Wendy's line, he needed Dad. Because without Dad, he'd have been hungry. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And so I don't mind because he's eating good. You know what I'm saying? Like I want him to eat. I don't mind. But I think for us, that's the perspective that has to change is I shall not want. God, you are all that I need. You know? And if you're all that I need, I'm relying on your faithfulness. So God, that's what I want. If I want anything, but I already have that, not because of what I hope may come, but because of what I've seen. So that's why David can declare, I shall not want.
Yeah. That's a great perspective. I shall not want because my shepherd is my protector. He's my everything. And that's great, man. I will say easier said than done because I shall not want, it sounds great until we get that diagnosis, right? Or we get something unexpected that comes our way. And it's like, I need immediate saving. And so, Lord, help me. Yes, my heart desires this, but I desire more of what you want for me. And if this lesson here and this moment of my life that has come about is a opportunity for me to grow, advance the kingdom, see a different perspective, mature, be wiser, be stretched, all of it to glorify your name, then God, let it be so. But it gets hard because people may not see that and may not transition that into their lives. The immediate need of what they're under and still being able to declare, I shall not want because you are with me. Like that's a tough thing to really battle with.
Yeah, I think it's, we've walked through very bad times the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Very hard times. Tough. Really hard times. And, lost, I personally, since May, have lost three people that are extremely close, right? So my grandmother / mom that raised me, one of my best friends, Brent, elder of the church, my ride or die for so long in ministry. And then, a dear friend that was my shadow, Sandra, and, you can look at that three different ways, each one was a different life. Each one was a different story. Each one created a different hole and chasm in my life. Each one did. Right. So, in that chasm, you want to fill it. But what I've learned in life and loss is that the only thing that will truly fill it is my shepherd.
Wow.
And you can try and try and try, but you can never replace a lady that raised you.
Yeah.
Never.
No.
Never replace a Brent. Never. Even Sandra. You can never replace a Sandra. Never replace her hugs, her kisses on the cheek. Never. So if I try to fill that with something other than my shepherd, I'm going to leave wanting more. But yet if I fill it with my shepherd, I shall not want.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's where people, they try and they try and they try and they try all the different ways, and it's no God, no peace. Yeah. But if you know God, then you'll know peace. He's the only thing that can fill that chasm, that hole, but life is loss. And you go through life and you always lose. You lose people, you lose time, you lose those things, and there's holes and chasms. And the only thing that can fill it, the only thing that will fill it without you wanting more is the shepherd.
Wow. So that's good, bro. That's super good. And lastly, in that same verse, makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. I look at that verse and it's like, he makes me. There's something there about being placed in a position of just lying down, because we are creatures that can wander. Wander in our thoughts, wander in our curiosity, wander in so many different things, and it leads us into these rabbit holes of life. And like a shepherd, I don't know if you ever seen that meme where the sheep is jumping and it goes into
They yank him out of the ditch. 2 hops, he's back in the ditch.
Right back in, dude. That's exactly like if there was a visual
what are you running
picture. From? Yeah, visual picture of humanity and God.
That's it.
That is it right there, dude.
Sure. I think that verse, it's a very simple verse to just right through, right?
True.
But the goodness in it is it goes back. The first verse is faithfulness, God's faithfulness, right? The second verse is the rest that comes in it, right? And that's what he makes me lie down in green pastures. I said yesterday, sheep don't lie down unless they're at rest, right? And they're only at rest if they're not worried.
Yes.
If they're not hungry, if they're not thirsty, if they've got all the nourishment, if there's no predator in the, then they go lie down.
Yeah.
And that's where the rest comes from. And, we have kids, right? So it's like, remember when your kids were little, right? Your kids would go to sleep so fast. Why? Because they have no worry in the world.
Yeah.
They're not worried where their next meal's coming from. They're not worried about paying mortgage. They're not worried about a thing, right? And so they rest. I mean, there's very few things more peaceful than a sleeping baby. Like not a care in the world, The older they get, they understand that life is hard. And therefore, they are trying to figure it all out. And then they're worried, And then that fear creeps in, the uncertainty, the doubt, right? So all of that FUD begins to creep in. But as your parent, what do? We calm. It's okay. Don't worry about that. We've got that. Let me handle that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All of those things. And therefore they can rest, and that's what this verse is. And that's for us walking through life. Green pastures means nourishment. Still water means life. And so for me, when I read this, I think through the nourishment that comes, and my shepherd will lead me there if I follow. If I follow, he'll lead me there. And then when I get there, I get to rest, because my belly is full.
Yeah.
And I'm nourished and I have what I need. I shall not want. Therefore, I will rest.
Yeah.
And that's why I think so many people, I've never personally struggled with anxiety. I've never struggled with that. It's not something that I've struggled with, but I have struggled with fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But in my life, anxiety is not something that I've struggled with. And so I'm very cautious when I talk about it. But, I talk to counselors and different things. And, people that struggle with anxiety, it's like your brain never rests, and I'm not here to tell you how to fix it because I'm not a counselor. And some people that struggle with that, they really need counseling. That's why we have Pastor PJ. You know what I mean? That's why we have counselors that my wife and I see, they're gifted at that. But what I can tell you is that restfulness begins, right, by following the shepherd. That's where it begins. And, I'm not saying that, it's easy to get rid of anxiety. It's not what I'm saying at all. So don't hear that. But here, I know where it begins. I know what the strategy is. The strategy is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down. And my job is to, like the old song says, to trust and obey.
Yeah.
For there's no other way, Yeah. And that to me is, that to me was just the reminder of he'll take me where I need to go. He'll lead me where I need to go. And I don't have to know the whole way. I just have to know the one leading me. And my faith and my trust is in the one leading me. My faith is not the journey along the way. Because to be honest, the journey along the way, I would make look different. Yeah, I would. Because who wants heartache?
Yeah.
Who wants storms? Nobody.
That's so true.
Who wants it? Nobody wants that. Therefore, I have to put more trust in the one leading me, that he won't lead me astray.
Yeah. So. Wow. That's amazing, man. I highly encourage you guys, take some time, read. It's the entirety, 6 verses in Psalms 23, but then go back and reread Psalms verses 1 and 2 on chapter 23. It's going to bless you. Man, what a great time. Dude, Thank you. This was fantastic. Good insight, good stuff. There's so much. I highly recommend too, if you guys get a chance, A Shepherd's Look through Psalms 23 by Philip Keller. I think that's the title there. Check that out. I highly recommend it. Let it be a part of your reading, your library. Put that in your library there. But awesome, man. We're going to have study guides for you guys available as well. If you guys want more of this and want to continue to study upon it and maybe need some extra material, go to our Instagram or all of our profile pages in our social media, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, all of it. If you go to our profile page, you'll hit the link tree. It'll take you right to all of our study guides that are available for you guys for free. Take it. Let it be something that you can use for your week, for a small group study, whatever it may be. But we are so thankful for Pastor Chad and just kicking off Psalms 23. It's going to be a great adventure these next 4 weeks in Psalms 23. I hope you guys fully take advantage of this. But it was great today. So love y'all. I can't wait to be with you guys next week. Until then, grace and peace.